guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled, The Entitled Neighbor's Vengeance. When I was a child, my family lived in a peaceful suburban neighborhood that was adjacent to a vast green belt. During summer, my family and I enjoyed setting up a pool in our backyard and inviting our friends over for a swim. The area was generally quiet, except for the occasional sound of kids playing or the chirping of birds. One day, when I was about 7 years old, I was playing Marco Polo with my friend in the pool when we heard an angry voice shouting at us. It was a middle-aged woman who we had never seen before. She came storming into our backyard, threatening to call the police if we didn't quiet down. My friend and I were startled, as we weren't making any noise that could be considered disturbing. We tried to reason with her, but she was in no mood to listen. She insisted that we were being too loud and that she was going to take matters into her own hands if we didn't stop. I remember feeling frightened and confused, as we had done nothing wrong. But then, to my shame, I flipped her off. I don't know what came over me, but I regretted it immediately. The woman flew into a rage and lunged at me. Fortunately, she missed and stumbled backwards. She quickly regained her balance and ran off, screaming and crying. My parents were out running errands at the time, but they arrived shortly after the incident. They were shocked to see our pool punctured, our flowers crushed, and our fence knocked down. It was clear that the woman had taken revenge on us for what she perceived as our misbehavior. We contacted the police, who took our statement and gathered evidence. They recognized the woman's name from previous reports of similar incidents in the area. She had a reputation for being an entitled neighbor who would vandalize properties that she deemed too noisy or unsightly. The police eventually caught her, and she was charged with destruction of property and assault. She was ordered to pay for the damages and was banned from coming within 100 yards of our property. But even after that, she still refused to take responsibility for her actions. She continued to insist that we were the ones at fault and that she was just trying to protect her own property. As the years went by, we tried to put the incident behind us. But then, something strange started happening. Our property began to experience mysterious incidents of vandalism and theft. Our garden was trampled, our mailbox was knocked over, and our windows were broken. At first, we thought it was just a coincidence or a case of random crime. But then, we began to notice a pattern. Each incident seemed to occur whenever we had visitors or events at our home. We installed security cameras and caught a glimpse of the perpetrator. It was the same woman who had vandalized our property years ago. She had been stalking us and plotting her revenge. We contacted the police again, but they were hesitant to take action without concrete proof. We decided to hire a private investigator, who eventually caught her in the act. The woman was arrested and charged with stalking, harassment, and destruction of property. She was sentenced to several years in prison, but not before making one last attempt to deny responsibility for her actions. After the incident, my family and I moved away from that neighborhood. But the memory of that entitled neighbor's vengeance stayed with us for a long time. It's a reminder that sometimes, even the most seemingly peaceful neighborhoods can harbor dark secrets and dangerous individuals. But it's also a testament to the power of resilience and justice, and the importance of standing up for what is right. The next story is titled, Attack on Karen, Karen Strikes Back. I live in a residential neighborhood in NYC. Finding a parking spot can be a huge hassle. Fortunately, I have a that has a shared driveway with my neighbor. What makes my home a little different from other homes in my neighborhood is the parking spaces in front of my house. Most homes around here have enough space on the street to comfortably accommodate 2 cars. Mine has enough room for 2 and 1/2. You can fit 3 if everyone is lined up neatly, but then the one stuck in the middle can barely get out. The problem I face is that most of the time, people don't take the time to park properly, resulting in them blocking half my driveway. There was a no parking sign next to my driveway and a huge no parking written in yellow paint the street at the entrance of the driveway. It's been there since before I bought the house. Common sense and decency should dictate that you don't block the driveway. Yet, people still do. However, those that do still have the common decency to only do it late at night and leave early morning. Except for Karen. This story is about a Karen who had the gall to do this several times and didn't leave, finally forcing me to do something about it. Fortunately, I didn't have to go to work this day, but her car was still there past 10 a.m. on a weekday. However, I still need to go somewhere at around noon, so I decided enough was enough and I called the city's traffic enforcement department to report it and they sent out a unit. In NYC, before a car can be towed at the request of a civilian, it first needs to be ticketed by the city. Once they're ticketed, you can call up a local tow company to take it away at the owner's expense. The tow guys came even faster than the cops. It's around 11 a.m. now and the tow guy has Karen's car hooked up and about to drive away when Karen finally shows up and screams. I'm looking out my window watching this debacle with a smile on my face. She asks the guy why she is taking her car. He tells her it's obviously because she's blocking the driveway. She then asks if he will let her car go if she talks to the homeowner. Inside I was like, "Which? I called them on you. Why would I let you off?" But the tow guy simply pointed to the ticket stuck on her window. He said, "That ticket is given to you by the city of NY. That is a legal issue. It has nothing to do with the homeowner. Your car is already strapped to my truck. If you want your car back, you have two choices. Either pick it up at our impound yard for $150 or ICAN drop it here if you give me $50 cash right now." She began whining and I walked away at this point, so I don't know what happens after this. A month or two went by and my driveway was happily free and clear. I then began finding dog poop outside my home every once in a while. I didn't link it to Karen at the time until I received a letter from the city. My neighbor, who I share the driveway with, also got one. Apparently, the no parking lettering painted on the streets is some kind of obscure violation. It has been there for decades, and I've only touched up the paint once every couple of years. The only person I could think of that would waste their time to report this to the city would have to be Karen. This was apparently her revenge. It took me 2 hours with paint thinner and a little bit of cement paste to clear it up. I wish I could say I went tit for tat, but she never did block my driveway again, so that's something at least. But I still find dog poop outside my home once every year or so. I figure it's her way of commemorating her shitty revenge. The next story is titled, New Neighbors. Hi there. I live in an apartment building with my parents. Where I'm from it's normal to stay with your parents until you get married or move for work. I commute to work by train every day for 1 hour, so I leave home at 7 a.m. and go back at 9 p.m. I only get the weekend to sleep and rest. I love my weekends. Come the new neighbors. It's a couple with 4 kids. They got the apartment on top of us and decided to redo the whole things before moving in. They're right. Can't say anything, but they kept on working every day for almost 6 weeks with the crew starting at 8 and finishing at 9 or 10 p.m. My mom is a pacifist, so she always stops us from talking to them as they must be almost done. Now one Sunday I was sleeping finally after a week of hard work. I hear, grr, grr, and loudspeaker hammering. I was furious. I got out of bed and went to their house. Me. Hi there, how are you? Welcome to the building, I'm your neighbor from downstairs. Entitled Mum. Yes, hi. Me. You know today is Sunday, and we need to rest. You have been working for weeks and we never say anything, but today my father is sick and need his rest. Entitled Mum. Oh, but I'm almost done. We need to work today, it won't take long. The house is a mess, and the construction is far from done. Me. But as I said, it's Sunday, you need to stop the work and let us rest. Entitled Mum. I'm really almost done, so if you can go, I have things to do. Me. Ma'am, I tried to be nice, but you are not making it easy. Entitled Mum. I said we are almost done, and the construction won't stop. Me. Lady, you still have at least 2 weeks worth of work. Entitled Mum. Shrugs, and how would you know with this look? I'm a petite person and I look super young, college students young. But what she doesn't know is that I'm an architect. With 7 years of work experience. Me. Listen, this is my line of work, I know what I'm talking about. Your new floor tiles are still in boxes conveniently blocking the stairs. Your ceiling is not done yet, nor are the lights, not to talk about the paint. And assuming from the toilet and sink sitting in the dining area your bathrooms are still not done. So, no, you will not be done today or tomorrow, so either you stop working for this day as it is freaking Sunday, or I'm calling the cops for disturbance and I'm going to report all the infractions you have done modifying your apartment. Entitled Mum looks at me with disgust, and before she said anything I turned and said, you have 1 hour to wrap things up or I'm calling the cops. I went downstairs trembling because I'm never good at confrontation. but tired me as another person, haha. She did stop the construction for that day and now tries to avoid me when I meet her in the hallway of stairs. The next story is titled, Shitty Racist Old Couple Thinks They're Entitled to a Public Theater with No Children in It. Okay, one thing to note, I'm super pregnant. Like 9 months ready to burst wobble when I walk pregnant. I have 2 children, Noah, 9, and Ava, 7. There's a small movie theater a few towns away that shows throwback-ish movies on Thursdays, so me and the hubby took both kids to go see Godzilla. My children are very well behaved, but Noah is high-functioning autistic. You wouldn't notice unless you spent enough time around him. He's perfectly normal except a lot of his senses are heightened and he's very sensitive to touch, taste and smell. He only eats very bland foods with firm consistency. We got each child a hot dog and a popcorn to share and headed into the theater. Keep in mind there were only about 8 to 10 other people in the movie theater, most of whom were adults or teens. We sat quite a bit away from everyone as Noah likes his own space. About 20 minutes into the movie, Ava asked her father, she was sitting next to me, for help opening her mustard packet for her hot dog. Ava was sitting on the end and her brother next to her, so she passed the mustard pack for him to pass to my husband. After my husband passed the open package back to Noah to give to his sister, Noah licked the packet. Him and his sister do this as kind of an inside joke to annoy and play with each other. If one of them is passing something to the other like a pencil or toy, they lick and the other goes ew and giggles. I don't question it, it's just their thing. Well, Noah gets the unexpected strong sour taste of mustard in his tongue and loudly gives a short shriek of disgust. I apologize to the movie theater, goes in a whisper yell and take him to the bathroom to rinse his mouth out. We get back and everyone watches the movie in peace and harmony, and everything is great, until we leave the movie theater. We were walking out when an older couple scoffs at us and the woman says, "Thanks for bringing the damn daycare to the movies." I immediately get upset and say, "I can bring my kids wherever he wants. If you don't like other people, stay in the house." My husband is a calm person and doesn't like confrontation, so he takes my hand and ushers me and the kids to the lobby. The man then says, very loudly, "And then her baby daddy goes ahead and puts another one in her to ruin everyone's day and take everyone's money." My husband stops, turns around and goes up to him and says something along the lines of, "You can be upset, but you're not going to disrespect me or my family. If you can't handle one noise, stay where the hell you came from. You leave it alone and we'll leave it alone." The couple then starts making a scene saying my husband threatened them. The woman starts shaking and fake sobbing, absolutely no tears coming out, and the husband calls the cops saying he doesn't feel safe and that he and his sick wife were being threatened and they don't feel safe to walk outside to their car. So, my husband and I go sit in the lobby and wait for the police. 2 officers show up and ask us both for our stories, and after everything, with an obvious look of annoyance and irritation on his face, one officer walks the couple to their car and the other waits in the lobby with us until we are allowed to leave. I could understand if my kids were unruly, making noise and being an overall distraction, but my son only made one noise which he can't help. Just because he's autistic doesn't mean he should be able to go out and watch a movie with his family. What bothered me the most is the "baby daddy" comment and what I can assume is the "welfare" comment. My husband is chef and I'm a school guidance counselor. While we aren't rich, we definitely aren't struggling, and we make an honest living doing honest work. It sucks that people still have such horrible views in 2022. You aren't entitled to a public area. The last story is titled, "Woman Thinks She Can Steal Her Car." This took place about 2 weeks ago. It was a very strange. I'm 27 right now, and on that day at the gas station, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It started as a normal day and going to get some groceries, but I needed some gas. I went up to the guy at the window like usual, and this is where it begins. When I'm done talking with the guy at the window, I turn around to a woman in my car and trying to speed away. I run over there, and she jumps out of the car and acts like nothing happened. I get on her case, and this is how the convo goes. Me: "What the hell are you doing in my car?" Woman: "What do you mean your car? This is mine." Me: "Okay, what's your license plate number then?" Woman: "I dunno. Those things are hard to keep track of." Me: "Well, I know what mine is and this is my car." Woman: "Ooh, can I just go home to feed my children? It's been a long day for me." At this point I'm fed up with her and decide to lock the door and go inside the station. I call the cops and walk back out to her car while she is trying with all her might to pull the door off to get in a car she doesn't have the keys to. Me: If you don't get the hell away from my car, I'm calling the cops. Woman. Do it. I bet you won't. Me. Well, I already called the cops, so you better get out of here. After that, her face went blank. And the next thing I knew, the police were already here to my surprise. She slowly looked behind and straight up let herself get arrested. After she got in the patrol car and they drove away, I could finally pump my damn gas. Thank you for listening.